What was going through your mind?
Oh my God, these people don't give a shit about me. So, well, this is it.
You thought you were gonna die.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I knew it was wrong. That's an absolutely stupid decision on my part.
Yeah, that's a problem. Yeah, I did. I screwed up.
In any business, in any industry, you have people that don't follow all the rules.
Hi, I'm Jenna Bourne, and I'm an investigative reporter at 10 Tampa Bay. If you're new here, welcome to What's Brewing, our deep dive into issues that matter to you. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Do you remember vomiting blood?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was terrible.
Robert Lutzinger is watching this surveillance video for the first time. That's him, leaning over his cot and vomiting blood onto the floor of his jail cell. It was November 18th, 2021, and Lutzinger was in the Pinellas County Jail because he had a warrant out for having an open container of alcohol and marijuana.
You know how your stomach feels when you feel like it's bleeding down there?
No, I don't. Can you tell me? Tell me how that feels.
Kind of like a fire, and it just burnt real bad. You feel this in your throat, and next thing you know, you just, ooh.
Just throwing up.
Yeah.
Although the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office blacked out 358 pages of the internal investigation report, we can still piece together what happened from the records we did get.
Surveillance video shows detention deputies Dante Ginn Davis and Zachary McDevitt watching Netflix for what the Sheriff's Office described as the majority of their shift.
What movie did you guys watch? It was Red Notice.
Watching Red Notice, the deputies told internal investigators what they didn't notice was this growing pool of blood. Not on their live surveillance camera feeds that they had up on the same screen as Netflix.
Ultimately, I knew it was wrong.
Not during their in-person well-being checks every 15 minutes.
So if someone vomits blood, that's considered a serious condition,
Absolutely.
correct? All right, and it could be considered a GI bleed?
Yes.
Is a GI bleed potentially harmful?
Yes.
Is it deadly?
It can be.
The internal investigation found that it wasn't until the next shift came in that anyone noticed the pool of blood. Lutzinger was taken to the hospital 3 hours and 51 minutes after he started vomiting.
And get this, the jail pod where Lutzinger was is for people who need constant supervision.
Suicide risk, close observation, psych inmates, and protective custody.
No, I told him I felt like killing myself.
And are you doing better now?
Oh yes.
Good. During an internal affairs interview, Deputy Ginn Davis told his supervisor he watched Netflix during his shift about once a week.
These deputies' discipline? A 40-hour suspension.
The 40-hour suspension, number one, is a significant discipline in the world of corrections.
This is Chief Cornita Riley.
We asked her to weigh in because she's an expert on Florida jails.
She's the former chief of Orange County Corrections and was awarded Jail Administrator of the Year in 2018 by the American Jail Association.
Normally, unless you have repeat offenses for something, you don't get to a 40-hour suspension unless the initial incident is so egregious that you have to do that level of discipline.
The month after deputies Ginn Davis and McDevitt got caught, the jail commander sent this email to the whole department. It references an increase in instances involving Department of Detention and Corrections members watching movies on agency computers while on duty, which has resulted in serious incidents being unaddressed or flat out missed. His email banned accessing television and movie streaming services while on duty, including YouTube and other similar websites that host online video sharing.
As an administrator, there are some things that you don't feel you have to just spell out sometimes in black and white for people, such as the reaction to now putting out an email, a memo, a directive advising that you can't stream video when you're on your post. One would think that you would not have to now put that in a directive because that goes without saying.
But that email didn't stop the distractions.
You told him, quote, "I thought since we couldn't stream videos anymore, I would read on my Kindle," end quote. Is this an accurate statement?
I believe so, yes.
The very next month, in January 2022, Deputy Adam Vincent was supposed to be watching these people serving jail time while they were cleaning. But surveillance video shows he brought an e-reader with Wi-Fi capabilities into the jail.
It was one of the Harry Potter books.
Even though the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office banned outside electronic devices from secure areas of the jail back in 2017 over safety and security concerns.
Could it be a potential safety issue for yourself, other deputies, and inmates as well?
Yes.
And how's that?
I could be distracted, be overpowered by inmates that were in the unit.
Like Deputies McDevitt and Ginn Davis, Deputy Vincent got a 40-hour suspension.
1 month later, and right next door at the Pinellas Regional Juvenile Detention Center.
Yeah, I did. I screwed up.
You can see Deputy Connor Davis on camera, cutting up garbage bags and taping them over the windows behind this desk before pulling up YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook videos.
It looks really bad. My intentions, I'm not trying to make excuses up. It just looks bad. It does.
The kids and teens in this area need extra supervision, including in-person checks every 10 minutes.
Those are more of our higher risk inmates. They're more prone to have maybe some psych issues or anything that they've like fighting with people a lot.
A review of Deputy Davis's computer log found that he accessed YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook 286 times during his shift. That's an average of 28 times every hour.
I was getting bored. It was 10-minute checks just by myself, so.
During that 10 minutes, I mean, can you just tell me a couple of things that could happen?
I can miss a lot. They could hurt themselves. I mean, anything really. And that's a mistake. It can turn bad.
Deputy Davis got a 40-hour suspension.
Is there a reason we haven't been able to get any answers?
This is a work group meeting, a task force meeting, and so we're not taking questions at this time.
Well, when are you taking questions? Because we've been emailing you and calling you with questions for weeks. When can we expect to hear back?
We'll take a look at your questions. Thank you.
Okay, let's try another person I've been reaching out to. Cindy Huffman, the liaison between the Department of Ed and the task force. The new bylaws together. I've been trying and they haven't responding to me either.
Dr. Ani, I have to refer you to that.
I'm sorry?
I need to refer you to Dr. Ani.
Okay, let's try Dr. Ani.
If you could provide them to the communications office.
I certainly have been for weeks.
Yes, and we'll be happy to follow up.
They didn't.
I'm getting grayer and grayer.
Exploding airbags shooting shrapnel at drivers.
It sounded like a bomb went off.
Cars catching on fire, brakes failing. This isn't a preview for Final Destination 6. These are real problems happening to real drivers because they bought used cars with open safety recalls.
Everyone thinks, oh, that's something in the movies, it's something that doesn't happen, but it happens.
While it's illegal for dealerships to sell new cars with open safety recalls, they can legally sell used cars with open safety recalls. Is that fair to car buyers?
No, it's not fair.
And dealerships don't even have to tell you.
Do a little bit of homework before you go in and you buy that car.
Let's see what's brewing. I'm Jenna Bourne, and I'm an investigative reporter at 10 Tampa Bay. If you're new here, welcome to our caffeine-fueled deep dive into issues that matter to you. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss an episode.
Yeah, this one is crazy.
In 2016, Tiffany Vu says she was driving to the gym when she got in what should have been a minor crash.
And then that's when the airbag exploded. The whole front of my steering wheel was gone, and all you could see was like metal barbed wire, like the metal in a fence. sticking out, and then I couldn't hear anything because it perforated both my eardrums. There was blood like shooting like a fountain out of my hand where the nerve was severed from the metal that blew out. But you can see in the x-ray the metal that was left in my hand afterward. You could see the little tiny metals that were in like my finger and in the palm of my hand. I was an Olympic weightlifter for a long time. I was state champion for my weight class for 6 years. I just remember it being like, okay, I'm never gonna lift again.
According to Vu's lawsuit the next year, a Tampa dealership didn't tell her this Honda Accord was under recall when she bought it used in 2014. Court records say Vu settled with that dealership and TK Holdings, Inc., which designed, made, and sold Takata airbags in 2018.
What do you think of the fact that dealerships are still selling used cars that have open, unrepaired safety recalls on them?
I think it's so unethical and it makes me sick.
According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, there are still at least 9.3 million vehicles with unrepaired Takata airbag recalls nationwide as of July 29th. Long-term exposure to high heat and humidity makes those airbags more likely to blow up. High heat and humidity? Well, that sounds like Florida. The Sunshine State ranks third in the country for unrepaired Takata airbag recalls, with at least 392,700 vehicles that haven't been fixed. It didn't take us long to find dozens of used cars, trucks, and SUVs for sale with open safety recalls at dealerships across the Tampa Bay area. Defects that can cause your airbags to explode, your rear view camera to become foggy, or start a fire in your engine compartment. We found all kinds of vehicles at a wide range of price points with open safety recalls, from a 2003 car selling for $3,000 to a 2022 truck going for $80,000.
The government knows, the dealer knows, that there is a problem with the car. The auto manufacturers have agreed that it needs to be fixed, but yet they're sitting on these lots, big for sale signs on them.
There's no federal or Florida law preventing dealers from selling used cars with open safety recalls.
And that stuff is readily available. There has to be a certain onus put on a buyer.
Eola Cook is the executive director of the Florida Independent Automobile Dealers Association, which represents our state's used car dealers.
There is a certain level of responsibility on the buyer as well when you're walking into it's the same if you buy a house. I mean, for most people, the car is either the largest or second largest purchase they're going to make. Do a little bit of homework before you go in and you buy that car.
Cook says supply chain issues can sometimes make it impossible for used car dealers to replace a recalled part right away. And she says independent used car dealers don't have the same access to parts that the franchise dealerships do.
Parts are not always readily available, and sometimes you'll see a recall and it'll say it's 6 months for the part, 8 months for the part, or they don't even have a date or a time certain to get a repair.
Senator Richard Blumenthal introduced this bill in May 2021. Here he is walking down a hallway because why not? It would require used car dealers nationwide to ensure open safety recalls are repaired before used cars are sold, leased, or loaned to drivers. And while Senator Blumenthal is on the move, his bill is not. It's been sitting untouched in committee for nearly a year and a half.
I'm frustrated, I'm angry that it hasn't passed, but I'm going to continue fighting for it.
What specific steps do you plan to take to continue fighting for it?
I'm going to mobilize even more effectively some of the safety groups, the advocates, activists, and reach out to the American public as we're doing right now.
Florida Senator Rick Scott is on the committee where this bill has been sitting around. We've been trying to get him to meet up with us to talk about it for nearly 2 months, but nope.
When are you planning to take action on this?
If it doesn't pass this session, between now and the end of the year, I'm going to reintroduce it early next year.
Look, we don't want to scare you. We want to empower you. So here's how you can look up any car for recalls, whether you're thinking about buying it or you've been driving it for years. Either look in the ad online or on the dashboard in front of your steering wheel, right here where it meets your windshield. You're going to want to look for the vehicle identification number, the VIN. You can search that VIN on nhtsa.gov/recalls or the Safer Car app. It'll tell you details of any open safety recalls on that car in the past 15 years. If there's an unrepaired recall, the manufacturer has to fix it for free. You can also sign up for emailed recall alerts on your car. We'll put those links in the video description below. Oh, and in case you were wondering, Tiffany Vu not only went back to lifting, she won nationals for her weight class in 2017.
And that's like a year after this crash. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like not being able to work out for a month and a half because it severed a nerve in my hand, so I couldn't even grip the barbell. So I was just happy to be able to go to nationals, much less win.